The salary and wage increase for civil servants, pensioners and step workers announced by Federal Minister of Finance, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, has become a challenging issue for Nevis. According to Nevis's Premier Mark Brantley, matters such as salary increases in the public service are usually discussed between the federal government and the Nevis Island administration. He said while the matter of a salary increase was discussed in Cabinet, the discussion on the amount was not discussed with the NIA. He pointed to political overtones on the approach taken by Dr. Harris.
The announcement made by Dr. Harris as to the percentage and the retroactive payment was done without any discussion with the Nevis Island administration or with my office as Premier and Minister of Finance for the island of Nevis. It is regrettable that Dr. Harris has taken this approach, as it departs from the practice since independence that such decisions would always be coordinated so as not to disadvantage any public servants or pensioners on St. Kitts or on Nevis. But we understand that this was a decision concerned with political gimmickry rather than a genuine desire to assist our public servants, pensioners and step workers. Having lost the support of the elected majority in the National Parliament, but refusing to relinquish the office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Harris is now engaged in seeking to buy the favor of the electorate through elaborate spending of the Treasury with no regard for fiscal sobriety. Even more cynically, Dr. Harris is well aware that he has absolutely refused to send to Nevis its equitable share of national revenues from our Citizenship by Investment program. Our analysis shows that since 2008, the island of Nevis, with 25% of the population of the Federation, has received only 7% of CBI receipts. During that period, more than $5 billion has been kept in Bastille for the exclusive use of the federal government, whilst less than 400 million dollars has come to Nevis.
As a consequence, Brantley said, the NIA will have to borrow money to pay salary increases, while indicating that Nevis will be forced to take a different path.
Dr. Harris therefore knows that the NIA will have to borrow money to pay salary increases, whilst he uses Nevision's money that he has vindictively withheld to fund increases to public servants, pensioners, and step workers on St. Kitts. In a very real sense, Dr. Harris is seeking to leave the people of Nevis without an umbrella, while he has a large tent of savings from our CBI money in St. Kitts. This level of cynicism should be roundly condemned by all Nevisians and by all of our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts as well. But it is not the purpose of this speech to point out the obvious. I am confident that the people of our beloved nation will shortly show their displeasure in the political gimmickry being undertaken by Dr. Harris and his cabal, and will discard them to the scrap heap of our political history. Notwithstanding that the island of Nevis and its finances have been severely negatively impacted by the economic carnage caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and that the island even now is still in recovery mode, I have met with the members of Cabinet of the Nevis Island Administration, and we have taken technical advice as to what lies within the fiscal capacity of the NIA to assist our hard-working public servants and our pensioners. To this end, and for the first time in our nation's history, I am to advise that we cannot, on Nevis, follow down a fiscally reckless path which is designed only for short-term political gain without regard for the long-term fiscal stability of our island.
Civil servants, pensioners and step workers on Nevis will receive a 5% retroactive increase in salaries and wages as of the next pay date in May 2022. An additional 5% will be added in January 2023, with a further 5% added in January 2024 for an overall increase of 15%. Then Bart reporting for Skn Newsline.
There is urgent need for constitutional change, says former Deputy Prime Minister Sam Conda. In an interview with Skn Newsline, Mr. Conda suggested that the recent decisions by the Governor-General in relation to the current political crisis, while in accordance with the letter of the law, was against the spirit of the law, hence the need for constitutional reform.
In place of strife by the Labour Party was an effort to address a number of these issues that we are debating right now. And so I think you rightly said it is time for constitutional reform, and that should be a priority. In fact, in 2000, after the Labour Party then under Dr. Douglas got the All 8, sometime in 2002 or thereabout, we had a constitutional reform, a parliamentary committee set up to address that. And we went around the Skn News to discuss some of those matters. That did not get very far because we weren't able to implement a number of the suggestions that were brought forward. So I think it's time now for us to do something like that again.
Mr. Conda's gripe had to do with the Governor-General agreeing to the advice of the Prime Minister to fire 6 members of his cabinet who filed a motion of no confidence against him.
If the Governor-General could not have done what he did, what he was asked to do, the Governor-General should not agree to turn away 6 of the 9 elected members of Parliament. Governor-General could have dissolved the House. That cannot be a consideration. You can't form a government with 6 people helping you to form the government, and when you form the government, you dismiss them and continue as the government as usual. That is undemocratic. That is unconstitutional.
With Parliament now dissolved, the country awaits with bated breath on an announcement of a new election date. Andre Huey, Skn Newsline.
When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today.
The Skn Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Former Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards and the leader of the People's Action Movement claimed that funds of the Treasury are being misused. Speaking at a town hall meeting in Sadler's Village on 16th May, Richards warned civil servants not to get involved in such activities as the country moves towards general elections to be called about 3 years early.
The Treasury and your money are now being used for PLP's political campaign, and that is wrong. I again urge the civil servants of this country not to get caught up in such illegal activities. The people's money is not for that purpose. The people's money must not be spent to get votes for PLP. That is not what your taxpayers' money should be used for. And so we give the people of St. Kitts and Nevis our commitment, our fervent commitment that we will use your money in the best interest of all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The PAM leader was also critical of what he described as nepotism in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I recall when I was Minister of Education, you asked for somebody to put on the board for CFBC. You get a family member as one of the board members. You ask for somebody to put on the board for accreditation. You get a family member as one of the board's members. And as you look throughout the length and breadth of government, you see one family occupying almost every single board in this country. One family alone should not have member on every single board, while some of you cannot be on a board. And that is why we say the nepotism must come to an end.
The People's Labour Party has come under heavy criticism by the former members of the Team Unity Coalition government led by Dr. Timothy Harris. Glenn Bart reporting for Skn Newsline.
A global health perspective empowers nurses to advance knowledge and education, improve healthcare delivery, and shape policy on both national and international fronts. Against this backdrop, nurses who successfully completed their nursing degree at the Division of Health Services at the Clarence Fitzroy Brand College, CFBC, in St. Kitts, are afforded the opportunity to practice globally. That's the view of Dr. Rondalyn Bradshaw, Dean of the Division of Health Sciences at CFBC. She was speaking on the most recent edition of Working for You.
Well, as it is by law in St. Kitts, once they want to go into the nursing profession, then as long as they live here, then they have to enter. But you have some nurses right now. We have nurses from Africa. We have nurses from Jamaica, St. Lucia. We had one from Grenada. We had one from St. Vincent. And of course, once they have finished their training and they are successful at the regional examination for nurse registration and they have gotten their licensure, then they are free to practice anywhere in the world.
Dr. Bradshaw noted that although it is important for trained nurses to give back to society, they are also allowed to operate in a new environment, thereby enhancing practical opportunities.
We don't want people to think that we only train our nurses to stay here. We would want them to go out and practice, synthesize what they have been taught in a new area. Because when I went to Tortola, it was very good for me because I was able to see the other side of nursing as well. And so I was proud of that. So we would want to encourage them, of course, to give back to the country where they were trained, but also they must test their knowledge and their skills in a new setting so that they can compare. Did I really benefit from this program?
According to the CFBC website, the Bachelor of Science degree in nursing offered at the Health Sciences Division of CFBC is franchised from the University of the West Indies School of Nursing in Mona, Jamaica. The degree from that institution prepares graduates for beginning-level professional positions within the legal and ethical frameworks of professional nursing in a variety of healthcare settings with patients across the lifespan of the advancement of graduate studies. Successful candidates of this course are eligible to obtain registration and licensure from the St. Christopher Nevis Nurses and Midwives Council, a requirement to attain the registered nurse title for practicing nursing in St. Kitts and Nevis. Andre Huey, Skn Newsline.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule. Are you ready to create high-performing TV commercials?
Ready.
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 Create and tell compelling stories. Reach your target audience. And build brand awareness. Our strategies and execution will provide for your desired outcome and clearly represent your brand. Visit us at www.madebyopen.com and get started on your creative video commercial today. Lights, camera, Open Interactive.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the Collins Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the Collins Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
The arts and the festivals have played a critical role in shaping the perspectives in the experience of the people in the Americas in confronting and resisting physical and psychic oppression. To mark the 5th annual Inter-American Week for People of African Descent, the Sir Lewis Community College and the OAS are exploring the themes of stories of courage with the focus on resilience to slavery and unity against racism. One particular story is how carnivals were used in the colonial era to give voice to the marginalized, indigenous populations and also migrants from the Old World. On May 12th, the Sir Lewis Community College and the OAS hosted a presentation in celebration of the people of African heritage in the New World. The lecture focused on carnivals and slavery and their lasting impact on social movements and the diasporas.
Carnivals have grown in stature and importance as expressions of popular culture from the colonial era of plantations and latifundios to the contemporary post-colonial urban spaces in Amaguana, Ecuador, Barranquilla, Colombia, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Port-au-Prince, Haiti, Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, Castries, St. Lucia, Fort-de-France, Martinica, and New Orleans in the USA. These expressions of cultural resistance and creative ingenuity have become key economic drivers, even as they are contested space. These carnivals have also migrated with diaspora populations to global cities in the North Atlantic. The diaspora Caribbean carnivals of Labor Day in New York, Caribana in Toronto, and Notting Hill in London are among the largest public festivals in their respective spaces.
The lecture was delivered by Principal of the College, Dr. Keith Nurse. Dr. Nurse touched on concepts of the Black Atlantic as a transnational social formation and its contribution to intangible cultural heritage and global humanity.
One of the noted artistic producers in Carnival Rem in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Caribbean is Peter Minshall. I've played several times with his band. And he argues that carnival is not an art form. It is bigger than that. It is a festival of the arts. Because carnivals operate in a public space, they have a particular dimension to them. They generate a lot of interest in terms of participation, but it also generates a lot of discussion, if not discourses, about the issues that are being reflected in the art forms. So carnivals are associated with social protest. So many of the songs, whether it's cumbia or calypso, are protest songs that comment on the conditions in the society, as well as some of the solutions.
Dr. Nis posits that festivals have been used from slavery to contemporary times as a form of protest and moods of expression.
Carnivals of the Americas are festivals that act as ritual sites for socio-cultural and political contestation, as well as aesthetic resistance. The expressions of liberation, identity, integration, social protest, and street theater.
St. Lucia is gearing up to host its carnival celebrations after a 2-year hiatus due to the ban on mass crowd activities and pandemic protocols. The government has also boosted the budgetary allocation to cultural activities, including carnival festivities. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.
In the last week alone, NWC, air traffic controllers, civil servants, NHT, and I hear rumors about more in the coming week.
Opposition Senator Peter Bunting, among other members, highlighting the shortcomings of the government that led workers of various public sector groups to strike last week. The opposition members were addressing comrades at the PNP's division conference in Belfield, Manchester, Sunday. Keynote speaker Natalie Nita Garvey criticized the government for not living up to its mantra of prosperity.
Where is the prosperity you promised the people? Who feel more insecure right now? I am sure in your own homes, in your own country, you feel more secure than before. How can PR move away all the criminals we have?
She highlights the taxations on basic food items, the unnecessary hike in gas prices, noting there's no need for a tax hedge. She sought to question the government's approach to increase wages for public sector workers.
When you say you want to do compensation review, I am going to roll up allowances, roll them up. Just roll them up. It sounds nice. Just roll up the allowances and put them in the salaries, because it's going to mean you're going to have a better pension. So when the grass grow, the hearts are starved.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament Michael Phillips encouraged comrades to join the party in working together. Javine McLean, CVM Live.
It's the deadliest mass shooting of the year in the US, and police say they know why the accused gunman did it. This was about killing black people, as many as possible.
We can't sugarcoat it. We can't try to explain it away, talking about mental illness. No, this was an act of domestic terrorism perpetrated by a young white supremacist.
Before the shooting rampage that left 10 dead, the 18-year-old gunman posted an online screed claiming white people in America were being replaced by people of color. It's called replacement theory.
What we're seeing now is a subculture, an elastic reservoir of grievance that takes all comers, and some of them will get radicalized because there are racist and xenophobic conspiracy theories attendant to all. Went from COVID and liberate the states, to stolen elections by African Americans, to African Americans stealing our culture and our schools.
Once a fringe idea pushed by racists, it has become a popular theme for conservative media figures who reach millions.
Now, I know that the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter become literally hysterical if you use the term replacement, if you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. but they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually.
It's extraordinarily serious in part because of how far it's gone and how deep into mainstream culture this these type of white supremacist talking points have gone, right? Because we hear them on Fox News, we hear them coming out of Tucker Carlson's mouth, which a lot of people are talking about right now, but we also hear them out of Republican politicians.
It's not the first killing by self-proclaimed white supremacists. Pittsburgh, Charleston in South Carolina, and even Charlottesville, when right-wing extremists chanted about replacement theories as they marched, have all been touched by the violence. A poll released last week suggested 1 in 3 Americans believe there's a program underway to replace those born in the US with immigrants for electoral gain, a theory that is becoming more extreme and at the same time more mainstream. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera.
Hot Springs Bath United suffered a 2-0 loss to Rams Village Superstars on Friday in SKNFA Premier League action at the Warner Park. Joseph Wilkes scored the first goal for Village in the 63rd minute and Mazari Hodge in the 87th minute. After the match, Village interim coach Travis Summersall, in commenting on why the team created so many chances but scored only 2 goals, said the players were anxious to score.
I think that the team was anxious to get a goal, so we wasn't sticking to what we were doing on the practice field. And then kudos to back, they was playing very well defensively, but in the end we still find a way to break through and we scored 2 goals.
Bath United's coach Alex Claxton said despite the loss, his team played well.
I think that we did a pretty good job in terms of making sure in the first half that, really didn't score. We had a couple of, lapses in the second half, and not only that, but we were always in the game, But unfortunately, and it's always the team that scored the most goals win.
In the night's other match, Flo Fujikion Rockets flew past MFCR United Old Road Jets 3-1. The goal scorers were Malik Hendrickson of Keon in the 5th minute, Carlos Bertie for Keon in the 19th minute, before Bernal Hobson of Old Road got one back in the 59th minute. Carlos Bertie sealed the win in the 80th minute for Keon. Coach George Yellowman Isaac was pleased with the output from his team.
The performance is just normal performance, and I was very happy to see we come out victorious still. I think it's the only goal we scored, and we still continue doing it. And the second goal is we continue in the first half, but still we come back out in the second half a little slow.
Old Road's coach Alexis Morris felt his players lost concentration, but knows his team has some more matches to go to make up for this defeat.
Well, first of all, I must say congratulations to the Keon team. They really came out and they exuberated what I think they wanted to do. On the flip side of it, I also want to commend my guys because to me it was a well-fought game. To me, they really stuck to what we were working on, and they came out and they gave a very, 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 very valiant effort, and I have to be pleased. Yes, the scoreline is not what we were looking for. We really come out to try to at least get something from the game, and it was not to be.
The defending Premier League champions SL Horswood St. Paul's United ran riot over their village neighbours Fastcash Saddlers 4-0 on Saturday in the SKNFA Premier League. The match played at the Warner Park Football Stadium saw goals from Malik Clark in the 10th minute, Vince Roy Nelson in the 45th minute, Keith Roy Freeman in the 55th minute, and Kareek Thomas in the 57th minute. Goalkeeper for St. Paul's, Jamal Jeffers, said the team has been working hard defensively, keeping the reputation of St. Paul's as a strong defensive unit.
We've been working a lot on our defensive game. We are known to being a good defending team. Clean sheet is always good, always good. No matter how clean the sheet is, I'm still dirty, so I'm still putting in work.
Right. Now, obviously St. Paul's in a really good position. I mean, they have been cruising before the break and now seems to be doing the same after the break. How do you manage to stay focused and stay concentrated going into the playoffs?
Chemistry and communication. We have a group chat. We stay alive, we stay talking to each other, making sure that, the players who are not fit, go to running, do some gym work and everything. So we just been keeping the bond, keeping the chemistry so that at the end of the day, when the league resume, at least we could kickstart and have that chemistry already, and we just mesh everything.
Coach of Saddlers, Kenroy Nibbs, bemoaned his team's defensive performance.
I could say left on, but to decision making in our defensive half of the field. Because the goals them that score on us, half them are really four poor goals. In a real game, those goals should never really score, but the defender reaction in terms of playing the second ball is very poor.
The other match between TGE Deer Bay Eagles and Hobson Enterprise Garden Hotspurs was postponed to a later date due to an unfortunate incident in the Deer Bay community on Friday.